Hey guys, what's up? What's happening? You got the King of Games 98 here at your service. How y'all doing? Hope y'all are doing good and staying safe. And well, continuing with the month of December's Christmas related movie reviews, today I will be talking about Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas from the year 2000. This is the live action adaptation starring Jim Carrey. And I just got done watching this a few minutes ago, and I can 100% say without a doubt, I still love this version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, of course, the TV animated special is classic. The book it's based on is classic. However, I feel like this version, it enhances the book and animated TV specials lore. And, you know, when I say lore, I mean, I feel like this version just adds so much more depth to the characters, the backstories, the locations, just a little bit of everything. So if you've never seen this version of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas or the original animated TV special, or even read the book for that matter, what are you doing? Living under a rock? But if for some reason you haven't, basically this Dr. Seuss tells a really good story of how one person goes from absolutely hating, loathing even, Christmas to enjoying it and recognizing it for a wonderful time of the year. Not just for gifts and presents, but to be surrounded by family and friends and the ones who you love and care about. And so he discovers the true meaning of Christmas. However, in order to do so, he had to steal all of the citizens of Whoville's gifts. But he promptly gave them back to them and did not get arrested for it either. So, yeah, that's how the Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, for the remainder of this movie review, I will be talking about my thoughts, feelings, and opinions about Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live-action Jim Carrey version from the year 2000. Ladies and gentlemen, let that sink in for a minute. This movie is 23 years old. Well, okay, it's currently 23 years old as of the recording this video, but next year it will be 24 years old. That is crazy to me to think about. Absolutely crazy. Okay, so I am going to talk about some facts that I wrote down here about this movie. And then I'm just going to, kind of talk about some favorite scenes and aspects of this movie that I myself personally like. So as I stated, this is based off of Dr. Seuss's book. Dr. Seuss wrote the book in 1957. The animated TV special did not air, however, until 1966. And depending on what year you were born, when you grew up, you might be more partial to the book and the animated TV special than this version. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So as I stated before, this is from the year 2000, and the runtime for it is 1 hour and 55 minutes. I thought that was perfect. I did not think it was too long. It did not overstay its welcome, and I did not feel bored at all at any point while watching this, as a matter of fact. So This movie had a very big cast when I looked it up. And of course I would like to mention everyone. However, if I did, there would be a lot of names you wouldn't recognize. So that would kind of defeat the purpose of me naming them. So instead, I shortened the list of cast that are really famous actors who you would hopefully know. So, of course, there's Jim Carrey. Jeffrey Tambor plays the Whoville mayor in this. Bryce Dallas Howard is apparently in this. However, I don't know who she plays. So, if you know, feel free to comment below and let me know down below in the comments section. Anthony Hopkins is in this, and he is the narrator throughout the whole movie. And I freaking love that. And he has such a great voice. And then last but certainly not least, Frank Welker is in this movie. Now, I don't know if he physically plays someone in this movie or if he is just voicing someone in this movie, because when I found that out on Google, it listed him as the voice of the dog Max. So I think he might just voice that dog in this. I don't think he physically plays a character in this movie, if you will. Now, if you're not familiar with that name, if you like Scooby-Doo, then that's all you need to know. Frank Welker is most famous and well known for voicing, I don't know if he actually voiced Scooby-Doo himself or if another character. I think he might have voiced Scooby-Doo, but don't quote me on that. And so that's what he's really most well known and famous for. I did not know that, ladies and gentlemen. When I did a quick Google search and I saw that, my eyes popped out. I could not believe that. That is so freaking cool. Now, Illumination, the company responsible for Despicable Me, released an animated version of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 2018. Now, for the record, I have not watched that version, so I can't really speak on that, but it's out there. And last, but certainly not least, because the inner gamer and video game collector in me could not go without mentioning this, there was a tie-in video game released called How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Or maybe it was just Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. Actually, yeah, I think it's just called Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. And it was released in November of the year 2000 on the PlayStation 1, Sega Dreamcast, and Game Boy Color. Here's the crazy part. It was published by Konami. Okay, let me reiterate that. A Grinch video game was published by Konami. Crazy. Now, mind you, this is the year 2000 we're talking about. So this was at a time when movie and TV show video game adaptations were a thing. Not really so much nowadays, but they were a thing back then. That is bonkers to me that Konami published a Grinch video game. Now, I don't have that game for any of those three consoles, and I've never played it, so I can't really speak on how that is. When I looked up the game, it seemed like it had mixed reviews, so take that with what you will. Now, I love Jim Carrey. I've been a diehard Jim Carrey fan since as long as I can remember. I love him in this. I really do. There are so many great scenes throughout this movie of between his facial expressions and what he says that are just so gosh darn funny. And when I rewatched this movie before making this review, I laughed multiple times throughout this movie because of the one-liners he throws out are just so unexpected, and it's just funny. You know, you got the scene of him eating glass in his lair. You know, the scene where Cindy Lou Who comes into his lair and he puts on a white t-shirt and then starts ripping it apart and is like, get away, run away before I kill again. It's like stuff like that just cracks me up. And it's the typical Jim Carrey that we all know and love. Okay. One last thing I want to mention to you guys, and then we'll close out this movie review. There is a behind the scenes feature. I think it's this one. Makeup application and design. I think it's included on the DVD disc. And you can also find it on YouTube. There is a makeup behind the scenes for this movie of them applying all that makeup to Jim Carrey. And apparently, I don't know if this is true, but he wore goat hair on that costume to make himself look like the Grinch. And apparently, it was excruciatingly hot, and he wanted to smoke a cigarette. So, multiple times between takes and shooting for this movie, he wanted to smoke on his break. And they had to make like a really long cigarette holder for him to smoke, because if the cigarette embers got too close to the hair, he would set himself on fire. And in the behind the scenes of the makeup, Jim Carrey tells you this, and he goes on record as saying, I had to tell myself multiple times while trying to smoke a cigarette, it's for the kids, it's for the kids, it's for the kids. I laughed so hard at that like you just wouldn't have believed how hard I laughed, because it was genuinely him, and it was really funny because of it being him and how he made it. So without further ado, guys, as if you couldn't tell, I really love this version of the Grinch. Now I know not everyone does, and over the years it has gotten some hate, and not, some fans are decisive, they either love it or hate it. I personally am in the love it camp. I absolutely love this version. And if you couldn't already tell, my rating for Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas from the year 2000, starring Jim Carrey, is a perfect 10 out of 10. I just love this version, guys. I really do. Everything about it is just freaking great. And Jim Carrey is so freaking funny in this that it just makes it all the better to watch. It's like you watch this version for Dr. Seuss's classic, How the Grinch Stole Christmas story, and then as an added bonus, you get Jim Carrey thrown into it, and his just quips, one-liners, facial expressions. It's just priceless. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know down below in the comment section what you think of this live-action Jim Carrey version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas.